Hi everybody, welcome to your 4 to 5. I'm Eric Chilton alongside Chad Silver, Lauren Coleman, and off camera is Manning Franks, waiting to enlighten us with his knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's always a good time when Manning's here, and it's a good time when you're here as well, watching us on air, online, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
And we know those Facebook comments will be firing up shortly. We got, since Manning is here, we're going to be talking all things movie, including a movie review from him today as well. But first, we do need to get you updated on an evolving case of a missing triad woman. First responders are looking for 81-year-old Heddie Dawkins. They're searching from the sky and on the ground for the woman from High Point.
Police say Dawkins disappeared yesterday morning. She has severe dementia, and they fear she may be injured. WFNY News 2's Amber Lake joins us live from the scene. Amber.
A press conference just ended here at Fire Station 10 in High Point, where police gave an update on the search efforts for Heddie Dawkins. Police said they aren't giving up on this search, but they are scaling back just a bit in order to take care of other responsibilities. Now, this is video of the search throughout the day. You can see there are multiple people. Multiple people have been helping out with their search. Close to 100 first responders have been on the ground assisting. They've been using drones, bikes, ATVs, boats, and bloodhounds, all being used in the search for Dawkins. Now, she has severe dementia is what we are being told, and police think she could be hurt, so time is of the essence. Dawkins is still missing at this current moment, and even though police are scaling back, they say they aren't giving up hope.
I'm still under the impression and the mindset that Ms. Dawkins is alive and well, at least in some capacity. I mean, she's been out for 2 days. I mean, I'm sure dehydration sets in and other things like that, but I'm still under the philosophy that she is out there and she's alive. So that's the one I want to give across. I know that through time and the laws of probability go down, I'm not going to operate that way.
Now, Doorbell cameras has spotted Dawkins with blood on her face and on her head, and police say that she might have fallen and injured herself. So again, time is of the essence here. Police do want to stress to the public, specifically people who live in the neighborhoods around Blockhouse Court, to check their fenced-in patio areas or unlocked storage units, just in case Dawkins may have wandered into them.
Amber, thank you. If you are on Facebook right now, or please go on it, go to our WFNY News 2 page and consider sharing our post about this search. Getting the word out could help in this search effort.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. A woman shot in the head on Monday has died. Winston-Salem police say 28-year-old Ashley Hartwell died around 4 this morning. Officers say someone shot her behind on a home on 17th Street. It's still not clear what led up to the shooting. No suspect information has been released.
I want to show you a spike in a local COVID number that I'm tracking right now. This next graph here will show the percentage of tests coming back positive in Guilford County. The latest number all the way over here is 28.6%. That means nearly 1 in 3 COVID tests is coming back positive. Now, it's easy to see the number is the highest on this 7-week graph. It's actually the highest number the county has reported since late January in the height of the Omicron surge. Now for some perspective here. This next graph shows all of this year. The Omicron surge lasted all of January and the beginning of February. Then in March, the numbers looked really good, dipping well below the red line, which has always been the county's goal of 5%. Some days were even as low as 1%. Numbers have been much higher since the end of May.
Governor Roy Cooper made a special visit to the Triad today. He stopped by to get a first-hand look at the new Women's Business Center of Greensboro, located on Bennett College's campus. We first told you about the new center yesterday during its grand opening. Right now, there are 146 women business centers across the U.S., but this one here in Greensboro, it is the first one built on a women's college campus.
It's no surprise the federal student loan website is inundated with visitors right now. Several loan websites actually crashed shortly after President Biden revealed his debt cancellation plan yesterday. If you've got questions about this new plan, we've got you covered.
President Biden just announced a plan to wipe out a chunk of student debt for millions of Americans. Broadly speaking, people making under $125,000 a year can get $10,000 in student loans forgiven. But a big question that we've gotten from several Verify viewers, do I have to do anything to get my loans forgiven, or will this happen automatically? Well, the Department of Education says it'll be automatic for about 8 million people whose income data the agency already has on file. That's most likely to be the case if you're already on a repayment plan that's based on your income, since the department already has your info to make those calculations. For everyone else, there will be an online tool where you can input your financial information. Not sure if you fall in that 8 million? That same tool can help you figure it out. So when will it be available? All we know right now is the department says, quote, in the coming weeks, and definitely before the end of the year. But you can get notified when it goes live by signing up at ed.gov/subscriptions. In the meantime, all federal student loan payments remain on pause through the end of 2022. And that eventually loan servicers like Nelnet will update your balance to reflect the canceled debt. One more thing, this only applies to federal student loans, meaning if you have private loans, those aren't forgiven at all. With your Fast Fact, I'm Casey Decker.
For more information about who qualifies for the forgiveness and who doesn't, just text the word DEBT to 336-379-5775 and we'll send you a link to our comprehensive coverage.
You know, we have a couple of isolated showers and storms, but it's not really widespread. This is what we've been talking about for the last couple of days. And as we head into this afternoon, reduced storm chances, that's probably the way to talk about this. You know, temperatures were all pretty consistent. Lexington, the coolest there at 79. Even Mount Airy's warmer than Lexington at 82. Wilkesboro 82. Greensboro 81. Reidsville 82. Everybody on the same page. We've got kind of that blanket of clouds over us that tends to keep everybody fairly similar for temperatures. Hey, tonight's low is 68, partly cloudy. It will be a little bit on the humid side, we think. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a few storms, and high temperatures start to squeak back up again. We'll bring that up to an 88-degree high temperature for tomorrow. Overall, over the next few days, we're pretty consistent. I want to show you the radar for now. A couple of showers in the mountain communities. That's Allegheny, Ashwaubenon area, and then closer to, say, Siler City and Pittsboro. We've noticed in Chatham County, these are picking up quite a bit here, moving from Pittsboro over towards Siler City along Highway 64, so keep that in mind. Going out to a wider shot, generally unsettled throughout the southeast. Here's why. You see that stationary front, it's doing just that, just kind of being stationary, lingering a little bit. As that lifts to the north, the humidity builds, but then this second cold front, we're hoping for that to push back down from the north. And what does all that mean for our forecast? Let's recap. Tonight, 68 degrees, partly cloudy and humid. The 7-day long-range forecast with only a 30%. You know, that's a smaller rain chance each afternoon. We keep that through the weekend, and for that matter, into Tuesday. Highs between 87 and 89 through Wednesday of next week. Wednesday, another front is poised to move through. Rain chances 40%, and then fairly dry Thursday with a slightly cooler high of 85.
Next November, the Kernersville Fire Rescue Department will celebrate 100 years of service in the town of Kernersville. And to help mark the day, the Fire Rescue Department is restoring a special piece of history. Over the last several months, the department has been working to restore a 1923 American LaFrance Brockway torpedo fire truck. It's the department's first fire engine and was purchased in the summer of 1923 for $6,500. Battalion Chief Barry McLean says the town of Kernersville helped to fund the special restoration project.
Of course, it being around for 100 years makes it special. It is really the only artifact, anything that we can put our hands on from day one in the fire department. So that really makes it unique. The fact that it still runs, it's going to have the original engine in it.
McLean says finding the parts to restore a nearly 100-year-old engine hasn't been easy, with several coming from across the country.
The engine is currently in Boston being redone by a specialist in Boston. The carburetor is being done in the mountains of North Carolina. There's a guy up there that specializes in that. There was 2 brass lanterns on the back. They're in Connecticut right now being restored. There was a couple of pieces missing. I got one piece from Maine, and a foundry in the Amish country of Pennsylvania actually made some new knobs for the pump on the truck, and the tires came from California.
The department hopes to have the truck completed by next summer. It will be housed at the new fire station off Highway 66 in Kernersville. So this is really awesome that they're doing this. Speaking with the battalion chief, he was saying there's only a handful of these left across the United States. And he also said that they recently learned in Mebane, the fire department there, they're also approaching their 100-year anniversary later on this year, and they're doing the same thing as well. Gosh. So the fact that we have 2 fire trucks like that in our area, that's a pretty big deal.
And it runs.
And it runs. Yeah, he says
That's
it
crazy.
runs. He says when they open up the engine, they can see over time there have been some people that try to put their hands on it to probably see if they can, fix different things, but it does run.
I can imagine.
I every time I see something like this that's 100 years old or something like that, think about the challenges that the first responders back then faced using such, compared to what we have now, primitive equipment. I mean, it's just incredible. And it's scary to think that someday people will look back on what we use now and say, wow, how were they able to put out house fires with that?
We'll have flying fire trucks
drones,
by then
right?
with water coming out from the
You mean
sky.
they had to spray from a hose? What's wrong with those people? I think of that too because, way more dangerous back then, even more than it is right now with the protective gear we have.
Another little nugget of history is he was saying that the torpedo is a military style truck, and he was saying that they probably overproduced a lot of these during World War I, and so this might have been used during World War I, so that's a cool connection as well.
So cool. I'm jealous you got to do this story. You know me, I would
Well,
love
hopefully when it comes back next summer, we'll be able to get some up and personal, close pictures and video of it because it is all over the United States right now.
That's one thing I really like about 4th of July parades. You see a lot of these old cars, old machinery going through, and it's just pretty cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, we'll take a short break. Coming right back. Stay there.
Hello, can you all hear me? Wings was the first Best Picture winner in 1928. Hello? I can hear.
A Sundance film now available for streaming is sparking a lot of conversation. Aftershock takes a hard look at how racism impacts healthcare.
It follows the stories of two men who lost their partners after untimely and preventable deaths during childbirth. Manning Franks dives deeper in his latest movie review.
Since about 1991, there have been 6 generally accepted types of documentaries: poetic, expository, participatory, observational, reflexive, and performative. Many times, though, this can bleed into one another in an attempt to weave together a doc with a unique voice and a powerful message. That's the strength of Hulu's Aftershock, with its blend of expository and observational style in drawing attention to an epidemic of maternal health care, one that is leaving many Black women disproportionately affected.
The ambulance came. I'm telling them the symptoms.
Is she on drugs?
Next set of people come in. Is she on drugs?
They kept asking her mother, is she on any drugs?
Like, do y'all talk?
We waited a solid 12 hours. She's gone.
Every year, a disparate number of Black women die from childbirth complications. Shamani Gibson and Amber Rose Isaac are merely 2 young mothers who tragically are part of that statistic. Their partners, now single fathers, strive to highlight this growing inequality in maternal health care and, with this documentary, create a rallying cry for meaningful change. Using the observational style that I mentioned before, Aftershock utilizes a close, fly-on-the-wall perspective to really let the compelling actions of their subjects speak for themselves. Yet, like other expository documentaries, minus the voiceover, this film encourages you to look at an especially specific perspective, be it a different perspective from your own, or even a familiar one. It has a very human message of loss and ultimately channeling that grief to a subsequent earnest resolve for compassionate education to the viewer. Aftershock succeeds the most when it takes a step back and highlights these emotional interactions and candid conversations between family. One scene in particular between a soon-to-be mother and father discussing birthing options can be taken for granted as it seems mundane. But Aftershock juxtaposes that with the fact that not everyone, especially Black mothers, will have that opportunity to see their kids grow up. It will enlighten you, it will challenge you, and hopefully, it will move you. Those are the best kinds of documentaries. A lack of equity in healthcare is nothing new to our ears, and many people have experienced that firsthand. Aftershock provides a visual voice for an epidemic of inequality by allowing us to look into its subjects' lives through a window into an intimate aftermath of tragedy. I'm giving Aftershock a 2 approved. You can currently stream this documentary on Hulu.
Well, that is strong.
Very powerful.
It is.
We got Manning in the studio
You do. And yeah, I just want to say that is a very, like last week we had a very kind of horror comedy. This one was a little more somber in its presentation, for rightly so, though.
And Manning and I were looking at this earlier, and I said, is all that real? And he goes, yes, absolutely. They were in there the film crew was in there for the childbirth and everything, right?
They were in there, one of them following a Black mother and a father, going through that process of them talking through what they're going to do. It just kind of gives you this, as I was saying, it may seem mundane at first, but it shows you kind of a perspective that we don't always think about.
I think that's what makes it more powerful, because we've done lots of stories on Black maternal health and just the discrepancies in healthcare, but to get firsthand accounts and see video like that compared to a quick soundbite from a doctor or something like that, that's amazing.
And it's not a reenactment, but what you're watching is the real deal.
It is the real deal, and that's what makes it more powerful, because you see the cell phone video of the 2 women who have recently passed from, maternal health complications, and it's just really powerful stuff.
What would you say that you walked away feeling after you watched it?
It's really, as I said in the review, it's an education. For me and myself, I'm a white man, so I don't have the same experiences as anyone else who may be a Black mother. I'm never going to be either one of those. So it's like, I hear and I understand, and I grow as a person hearing that and seeing what I can do to educate myself and educate the viewers at home from watching this.
And that's what makes a great documentary or a great news story, when it educates, it inspires, it intrigues, and teaches you something you might not have thought about had you not watched this.
I thought it was interesting, and again, Manny and I were looking at this, and I don't know if you caught it or not, but the doctors asked her, because apparently I guess that she came in, struggled with finances, and that, are you on drugs? Like that was the first
question.
Yeah, over and over.
And that is the
asking her
reality of what happens, you know, when it comes to healthcare in, you know, marginalized communities.
I hope it draws you in personally, so you identify with the people personally.
The two fathers are characters that you will compel, or subjects that will
Yeah.
compel you to the very end.
It's very good.
So obviously this was a documentary, and you're kind of focused on documentaries today throughout
Yes.
the next 30 minutes or so.
Absolutely.
Are you going to just, I guess so, ask questions to Manning?
Please, yes, there are so many documentaries that I love. There are some that I can go into. You tell me, what are your favorites, and I'll be glad to tell you what mine are, but I can't tell you right now. We'll have to wait later. Keep watching, and then I'll tell you.
All right, awesome. We'll be right back.
Because you know, a lot of times it's just pictures of who the person was.
Yeah, no, they took cell phone video, and that's what it's like.
Couple of storms out there for you. I mean, it's funny, we're kind of sandwiched in between the rain. I'm going to show you the radar in a minute, but a lot of it's back in the mountains and down east and not so much right over the Triad, so we get a little break here. 81 degrees right now at the airport in Greensboro, 81 in Charlotte, 83 Raleigh, Fayetteville at 73 because they're seeing some rain there, Wilmington 86 and Myrtle Beach 84. Winds for the most part you can see coming out of a southerly direction. That accounts for the humid conditions that we're seeing today and into the night tonight, only about 5 to 10 miles per hour overall. Now, when you look at the hour-by-hour breakdown for us, we think we'll go into those mid-70s by about 8 o'clock tonight. Again, slight chance of a shower. I don't think we'll see a whole lot. If you're in the mountain communities, yes. Chatham County getting some rain too, but most people not. Down into the upper 60s by about 2 a.m. we think. And overall, when you look at the radar, we're seeing the showers and more. Let me step out of the way. This is not working. I'll hit the button for you there. You can see as we look at Chatham County, that rain kind of back building from the east to the west. So it's just north of Siler City. If you have to travel along 421, Liberty, you're going to get some rain in the next little bit as well. And it is just kind of general generally unsettled across the southeast. We have that stationary front. It'll linger for another day or so. Rain chances for the most part, you know, it's not as bad as what we've been talking about. Look at that long range, and 30%. That's every afternoon from Friday through Tuesday, with highs around 87 to 89, and the coolest day next Thursday with a 20% chance of a shower and 85.
We are checking in with our movie critic, Manning Franks, who is in-house today. Manning, a lot of questions that you're getting on Facebook right now. The question I have, we're talking specifically about documentaries.
Yes. Good question. I don't have an immediate answer because there is no, documentaries are very subjective.
Right.
I mean, this looks like a bad cut. It's really filmed, like, for instance, they're filming their subject and the person's like cut off. You know, as we would
Bad
do for
framing.
news, bad framing would just tank a documentary. But as also if it's kind of unfocused and doesn't really have something to say. There was a documentary that I watched back in Sundance, can't remember the title, but it just kind of shows you an overview without getting into the meat of an actual subject. So it feels very surface level, and it kind of fails as a doc. It's not something that can really grip you.
So what makes a good documentary? So the one that you just previewed had the video in real time. What makes something, you know, a powerful documentary?
Well, again, movies as documentaries are subjective, but in my mind, what makes a really good documentary is when you can kind of go into the life of the subject that they are showing. They can give you a broad perspective. You can go into their shoes, or you can learn something at the very end of the day about a subject or about an event or a person that you had no idea prior. It's informative, but also entertaining at the same time. That's a good documentary.
Someone asked you in the chat your favorite documentary, and what did you say?
I said, right now, it is Won't You Be My Neighbor, which is a documentary following the life of Mr. Rogers. It is such a heartwarming, I love Mr. Rogers. For those who know me, I love Mr. Rogers so much. And that documentary is just a beautiful encapsulation of who that man was, with interviews and like digital recreations, actually doing some animations as well in there, and archival footage. Beautiful documentary. I would encourage everyone to go and see it the next chance you can get. I don't know where it is though. I'll keep a look on that for y'all.
So it's not in like a streaming right now?
It probably is, but I don't know.
He's going to look for it, and he's going to write it in the chats and let us know. We'll be right back.
Is this the one with Tom Hanks?
No.
Mic check, Jalen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Mic check.
Welcome back to the 4 to 5 halftime. Right now, we're ready for the second half of entertainment. Chad, are you the running back today? Gonna score?
Yes.
Yes.
Just yes. I'm a yes man, okay?
Is that a good thing?
I know.
It depends on what you're talking about.
It depends, that's true.
Well, thanks for watching us on WFNY News 2, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
And coming up this half hour, really just an emotional story of a Major League Baseball player surprising a young girl who was actually a victim from the Uvalde school shooting. She was shot multiple times, and you've got to see what this baseball player did for her. It was pretty incredible. But first, we have to get to some big news at Guilford County Schools. The district got national recognition today from First Lady Dr. Jill Biden. She met with Acting Superintendent Dr. Whitney Oakley virtually, highlighting the use of money from the American Rescue Plan. Now, during the pandemic, the district started a summer enrichment program called Fifth Quarter, motivating students to explore new subjects and career pathways. Dr. Biden encouraged other school districts to consider doing the same.
I hope that their experiences inspire other schools to continue to follow their lead, because this is so important as we work to not only recover from the disruptions of the pandemic, but help students heal. Every minute is an opportunity to master a new idea, to grow and explore the world around us. Our kids will catch up. They just need our support to do it. My promise to the families out there is this: Joe and his administration are committed to working as hard for your children as you do.
GCS is one of just 15 districts nationwide to be recognized. That's a pretty cool honor there.
Yeah, and for the First Lady, I'm sure she has a busy schedule, and to make the time to be on this call and to speak, that's awesome.
And keep in mind, she has COVID right now too.
Oh, that's right. I totally forgot about that.
You know, this was all through Zoom, and she didn't have her camera on, so obviously we couldn't see her, so that's why you were looking at still pictures. But pretty great honor in one of 15 schools nationwide.
In the entire country. I mean, that is a big honor. And I love that, you know, that's how you really connect with people, because people that are parents, you know, they're serious about their children. It's probably their number one topic, their number one concern, and to reach out and connect on that level is kind of different than just regular politics. It's more personal, or at least to me.
Well, we're keeping it on the topic of schools. School for most Triad students starts next week, and one Triad district is making sure all bases are covered. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools held an important meeting today reminding parents of new federal lunch laws. WFNY News 2's Jalen Gilkey was there to find out how the sign-up differs from years past.
Yeah, Lauren, since the beginning of the coronavirus pandemic, schools across the nation have been providing free lunch for all students thanks to help from the USDA. That assistance ends this year. However, Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools are offering a new alternative that is aimed at helping thousands of families.
One of the biggest changes is that all meals are no longer free. We do have 48 schools who are community eligibility provision schools, and in those 48 schools, those meals will continue to be free. For those families who do not attend, whose kids do not attend a CEP school, we will need you to complete a free and reduced meal application to qualify for either free or reduced meals.
Cruz went on to say any parent can apply for the free or reduced lunch programs. The district only needs a few things from you: your student's name and ID number, your address, and your income information. But there are some students that have already qualified for this program before the year even began.
We do have a large number of students who actually automatically qualify for free meals based on participation in other state programs such as Work First, Food Stamps, SNAP, or TANF.
This school year, Guilford County Schools is also providing free meals for students who qualify for reduced priced lunch.
The application takes into consideration income as well as family size or the size of your household to determine if your student or students qualify for free meals, and we're encouraging all of our families to do that.
If you need an application, I've attached links for both districts in this web story on WFNYnews2.com.
This is so important. It's so important that kids are fed, that they get the nutrients that they need in their bodies so they can be the best student that they can be.
Absolutely, and I know there was a little bit of confusion as to would this program be continued with the federal assistance, but I'm glad we were able to get this information out there, clarify, so the kids will be able to get the nutrients they need and focus on their education.
And we do have all of that information linked on our website. All right, thank you, Jalen. And now we're going to get to some of your headlines with your 4 to 5 roundup. It is day 2 of the search for 81-year-old Heddie Dawkins. Right now, several agencies are using multiple methods to find her, including boats and helicopters. High Point police say Dawkins disappeared yesterday morning. She has severe dementia and they fear she may be injured. If you see her or know about her whereabouts, call 911.
I noticed a surprising spike in one of our local COVID numbers. Let me show you. This graph shows the percentage of, well, let's get it here on a smaller scale here. Here we go. This graph shows the percentage of tests coming back positive in Guilford County. The latest number is 28.6%. That's nearly 1 in 3 COVID tests coming back positive. It's easy to see the number is the highest on this entire 7-week graph. It's actually the highest number the county has reported since late January in the height of the Omicron surge. Now, I want to show you some perspective. This graph shows all of this year. The Omicron surge, all the way there at the left, was really dominant in all of January and the beginning of February. Then in March, the numbers looked really good, dipping well below the red line, which has been the county's goal of 5%. Some days were even as low as 1%. Numbers have been much higher since the end of May.
Another Greensboro Police Department input session is underway right now. The department is asking the community to help on its search for the next chief. The meeting started over Zoom just a few minutes ago, and the next one is scheduled for next week. The city is also holding a community talk session tonight about African American disparities. It's hosted by a subcommittee created to address equity concerns in Greensboro. The topic up for discussion is environmental justice, with a specific focus on Bingham Park and the White Street landfill. To join the conversation, look for the link on the city's website.
We're watching a couple of showers, most of it to the south and east, and then some to the north and west, and right in the middle of our viewing area, we're not seeing a whole lot. A stray shower in the Summerfield area right along Highway 150 just a short time ago, but that has since broken apart. 81 in Greensboro, 82 Winston-Salem. Lexington, you're at 80. Asheboro, hello, 81 degrees there. High Point, 82. Martinsville, 82. Mount Airy at 81. Dew Point's pretty heavy out there. Anytime we get to 70 or above, that's technically oppressive humidity, almost tropical in nature, and that is what we feel out there. Our winds coming in from the south, that's the reason for that. So overnight lows tonight dropping down to 68, which means that's what you'll see tomorrow morning as you step out. 82 by midday with a high of 88. Late day storms, you know, the rain chances only a 30% each afternoon and evening, kind of a summertime forecast, but 30% means a 70% chance that you won't see that, and that's probably the case we think all the way through the weekend. We hold at that 30%. Here's the rain that we're seeing now. It is kind of moving back, or building, I should say, back to the west. So if you're in eastern parts of Randolph County, maybe around Liberty, you're going to see a little bit of that, and also maybe Pleasant Garden if it holds together that long. You see, generally speaking, over the region, most of the rain is mountains and then east of our area. Here's your long-range forecast. We're in the upper 80s, aren't we? All the way through Wednesday of next week, between 87 and 89. Each day a 30% chance late day shower. Same story for back to school. Guilford County and lots of different systems heading back on Monday. Tuesday a 30%, Wednesday a 40%. That's our best rain chance. Lowest rain chance next Thursday, 20%, and we're back to the mid 80s.
A Major League Baseball player is giving us a reason to smile today after he honored a survivor of the Uvalde school shooting. Former Houston Astros player Carlos Correa hit the field with a special guest. Maya Zamora lost many of her closest friends that day, 2 of her teachers, and she was severely injured in the shooting. Doctors say it's a miracle she survived. She was shot in her hands, arms, chest, and back, then underwent more than 20 surgeries. Her hospital stay lasted 66 days. To celebrate her recovery, Correa brought Maya out to throw the first pitch.
It's great. It was great to finally meet her, to spend time with her family, and we'll spend a lot more time together. There's still a lot of work to be done.
Maya and her family were treated to a makeover before the game. They also received personalized jerseys.
That is beautiful.
So sweet. She looks so happy too with a little baseball cap on and all that. Love that.
Yeah, they just went through so much, and for him to come out and just put a smile on their face, it really, really means a lot.
And to have gone through dozens of surgeries after you were shot multiple times.
Gosh.
And for someone that age, I mean, think about if what happened to her happened to one of us, like an adult.
Yeah.
That can be that you're ruined. I mean, for the rest of your life, like your mental state, I can't imagine what it must be like for somebody that young.
And to be able to still come to an event like this with just big smiles on your face,
Absolutely.
it's amazing to see, her here in this moment.
I love when we're looking at the video and I was watching her face. just the admiration that she seemed to have for him, and looking up almost like, when it's like a movie star, you know, I mean, that's a big deal. And to get that kind of an honor from someone like that, especially an MLB player, she's got to be so happy.
And something that was overlooked here just a little bit is that he actually Carlos Correa plays for the Twins now. He doesn't even play for the Astros anymore.
That's right.
And
so he came back.
Yeah, so I mean, it was, that's great to see.
He's a shortstop, big deal too. Big deal.
Such a great story. And here at home, one NBA star is getting a major honor. Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools voted unanimously last night to rename West Forsyth High's gym after Chris Paul. The Winston-Salem native graduated from West Forsyth in 2003. He then continued his hoop dreams at Wake Forest. 18 seasons in, and he's still going strong with the Phoenix Suns.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
And I mean, they've got so proud to say that Chris Paul, this is where he came from.
He looks
I
so
love
young.
that.
He played in
That's
our
because he
gym.
was young.
Yes, he was, like 17. I did a live shot with him. I was at Wake Forest doing a live shot when Wake was playing Carolina in basketball, and they were the two top teams at that point in the ACC. And I was just doing it with the students that were in line. And then Chris Paul and two of the other starters just showed up. The bus showed up by luck.
Really?
And one of the students said, "Come over here and get on TV." So I got to interview him when he was at Wake
Wow.
Forest. Yeah, it was really
So
cool.
lucky. You've interviewed so many amazing stars
Not
from this
knowing
area.
that he was going to be what he was going to be.
Did you have to bring a stepladder to interview him?
Yeah, true. A little stool. You know what I did that they did like? I think I've told you this before. I was joking with the Wake student. I thought I was going to be with the students, not the players. And so I had a Carolina shirt on underneath my jacket because it was winter. And I said, "What would you do if I broke this out and I
I've heard
zipped
that
it?"
story.
And they were like, "Oh," and act like they were beating me up. It was so funny. So
I
funny.
remember you sharing that
Yes.
story. It would be great to hear from his teachers and stuff who knew him back
Absolutely.
then. Just like you said, who would have known, he would be this huge star today.
Didn't
Hey,
know.
that story is still out there.
Oh, yeah, it is.
You could tell it.
Maybe I'll get the first-hand account. Well, it's a big week for the Panthers. Week 3 of their preseason continues tomorrow. The Cats will take on the Bills right here on WFNY News 2, your official home of the Carolina Panthers. We do have some programming changes that you need to know about. Wheel of Fortune will air at 10 p.m. Jeopardy starts at 10:30, followed by WFNY News 2 at 11. 2 episodes of Blue Bloods will air overnight starting at 1:38 a.m. And Secret Celebrity Renovation airs Saturday at 1 p.m. We'll be right back. There's a push to change the narrative around a subject that impacts a lot of women but rarely is discussed. Period pain. According to one study, about 80% of women report being less productive at work or school while on their periods. Now, one company is raising awareness by giving men the opportunity to know how it feels. While watching this story, let us know what you think about it in the comments.
The pain can be debilitating.
I can't not.
But typically, period cramps go unnoticed by men.
Oh my God, no, how can you function like this?
You can't. Until now.
We put them where you would have ovaries if men had them.
Lux Perry is CEO and co-founder of Some Days, a Canadian period pain relief company. Their team brought their electric period pain simulator to this year's Calgary Stampede, where they managed to bring the toughest of cowboys to their knees. They're trying to use the simulator to take the stigma out of talking about period pains.
The simulator and what Some Days is really trying to do is open up that conversation in a way that's not awkward. It's funny, it's lighthearted.
But it hasn't always been a laughing matter for Perry, who suffers from endometriosis.
It impacted my ability to attend school, my ability to attend jobs, hold a job.
Endometriosis often causes more extreme pain during menstrual periods.
Endometriosis is regularly mistaken for period pain, which is just so absolutely absurd.
Endometriosis is the thickening of tissue surrounding the uterus. Millions of U.S. women have the condition, which may disrupt fertility, but some don't realize it.
Because pain in general, menstrual pain, is so common, I think it's hard for many people to know the distinction, the difference, and hard to get diagnosed.
Dr. Tara Shirazian is the director of NYU Langone Center for Fibroid Care.
Especially for young women, young patients, it's very, very important to diagnose early.
She says there are treatments, but they don't always help, and compassion for those suffering goes a long way.
Such an important topic. I know when I saw this story and wanted to chat about it, I was like, well, they feel comfortable, but it's something we shouldn't shy away from because it's real and it impacts a lot of people.
It's a medical condition. It's something that happens. And I was talking with Lauren. I said, way back, jillion years ago, I had a girlfriend who had endometriosis, and she was in so much pain, and I didn't even realize that was that severe until I met her, and she said, yeah, it's like this for a lot of women out there.
And a lot of people normalize this pain. They're like, oh, this is just something that happens, but it's important to get checked out because it really can impact your fertility, and it can lead to like long-term, effects as well.
And I think if someone is experiencing that, I'm telling men, don't discount this. It's a real thing. You can't just go, oh, I'm not. You deal with that. You need to be a supportive partner.
Or if you have a daughter,
right.
as a father as well, it's just important to, have the knowledge that this is happening and going on.
Especially knowing the difference between a normal pain and endometriosis, which can cause major issues.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're going to take a break. We're coming back. Stay there.
That can be a feature for the 4 to 5.
We are back one more time with our movie critic, Manning Franks, who is answering all of your questions on Facebook right now. Today we're focused on documentaries.
Yes.
What kind of questions are you getting?
One of the questions that I had was, other than the favorite, one of my favorite ones, I think it was Melita, if I'm not, I am so sorry. It was, do you like March of the Penguins? And I want to go quickly and say, animal documentaries are fantastic. I love animal documentaries. Back in my house, Planet Earth on the BBC, I don't know if you've seen that before, Chad. That was on repeat. I watched some of those sections over and over and over again because there's something kind of really wonderful just about an animal documentary, how they get in there up close and personal with something that feels so foreign to us, wildlife. It's really beautiful. And March of the Penguins, Morgan Freeman's voice, excellent combination.
And honestly, that was one of my questions is how do you think that they're able to get so intimately close with the animals?
Well, probably one of two things. If you see some of the behind the scenes, it's kind of the lenses that they use are so long to where it's like they'll be able to take those videos that they need. And others, they have special trappers or trappers, excuse me. They have special guides that they will take with them and whatnot. So usually I think it's like a combination of the two from what I've seen.
So now a spin-off documentaries would be mockumentaries.
Yes.
Your thoughts on those?
They're fun, they're funny. I haven't seen as many as I would like, actually, the more that I look at it. The ones that I have seen, I'm kind of like iffy on. But mockumentaries are, of course, when you kind of take some jokes along with the documentaries where it's kind of a little tongue-in-cheek. And as I mentioned in the last section, tongue-in-cheek, I'm a big fan of tongue-in-cheek documentaries, tongue-in-cheek films. It's self-aware that really kind of makes it extra funny because mockumentaries at their heart, they're comedies. So.
Yeah. Well, we're so happy that you came back and enjoyed.
Of course. Y'all invite me.
Had the time today. Yes. A lot of people asked him questions. He's going to be around here for a couple more minutes. So if you have a question, feel free to reach out. Eric Chilton, do you have any questions for Manning?
Always. Lots of questions. I work with Manning pretty much every day. I think I'm questioned out. We talk all the time. We work every day together. Here's what we see. So 68 will be the overnight low tonight. Tomorrow's midday temperature is at 82 with a high temperature of 88. A late day shower chance, 30%. Not great. And it's kind of what we're seeing right now across the area. Most of the rain that we've seen today has been either in the mountain communities or back to the east and closer to, say, Chatham County. Southern Randolph County getting a little bit of rain also. Here's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and get you zoomed in down here. You can see Asheboro just to the north of Asheboro, a shower developing between Randleman and Asheboro, and then south of Liberty. That is all kind of pushing back to the west a little bit, so don't be surprised if in southern Guilford County you don't get a shower or two here or there. All right, let's go to the 7-day forecast. That 30% stays with us, doesn't it, all the way through Tuesday. Highs between 87 and 89 through Tuesday of next week, including back to school on Monday, the high 88. Wednesday, the best chance of rain at 40% and 88. Thursday, a cooler high of 85.
In some of his pictures
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hey, what's up? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Hi there, 1, 2, 3, Manning Franks on.
Ten nine 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1.
If you're driving down Penny Road today, you're likely to see one of these flyers.
Hi there. Sorry, I'm kind of in the hallway right now. Minnesota. It's crazy to think lots of kids will be going back to school next week. The summer always flies by. It's also the time of year when you'll be seeing all those big yellow school buses out and about. Those flashing lights in school zones will be back too. I was shocked this week when I heard that Winston-Salem-Forsyth County Schools said drivers illegally pass stop school buses more than 100 times a day. That's both shocking and disappointing. On the flip side, viewers will often send us video of school buses driving erratically or breaking laws with kids on board. I get it, we all have places to be and other things going on in our lives, but everything can change in an instant. I went through a traumatic experience in my childhood. When I was in kindergarten, my best friend was hit by a school bus and died. Her name was Crystal, and she was simply walking to our after-school daycare when it happened. It was the one day I had to stay after school and wasn't able to walk with her. Safe to say that bus driver thinks about that day often. So do I. With so many parents and kids returning to a hectic routine next week, I want you to think about that on your morning commute. Everything can change in an instant. Pay attention behind the wheel. Someone's life might depend on it. That's just my 2 cents. And your 4 to 5. WFMY News 2 at 5 starts right now.
It is day 2 of the search for a missing High Point woman with dementia. 81-year-old Heddie Dawkins disappeared nearly 40 hours ago.
Several agencies teamed up to find the woman who may be hurt, but late this afternoon, authorities announced they will be scaling back.
WFMY